Welcome to the Red Conrad Show, the story of my life and world events how I see them. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe. Let's get this going. As those of you who have been listening to my show all along, you're aware that there was 3 hiatuses in roughly a year and a half's time. I'm not going to rehash everything all over again about what happened. If you're new to the show, you can go back and listen to the old episodes, preferably leading up to the first and second hiatus before you listen to what happened. But long story short, the third hiatus was related to the first and second to the situation. Basically, when my wife passed away of cancer, I got real depressed, and I suffer from, several different depressive disorders on top of other disorders. Officially diagnosed. I'm not making this shit up. I'm not looking for sympathy or anything. I was diagnosed. So when I lost her to cancer, it conquered my depression like way over the top, and I allowed it to control my life longer than I should have. And by doing so, that caused the first problem that created the first hiatus, which rolled over into the following issues that led up to the second hiatus, which then rolled into the third issue, leading up to the third hiatus. But the third hiatus from the show, I was trying to use that time to snap myself out of my depression, rebuild my business before I let it completely crash on me. I was trying to figure out where exactly my life was going, and as I'm trying to do this, a whole bunch of other bullshit from the first and second hiatuses kept on resurfacing, interfering with me trying to find myself, interfering with me trying to get back on my fucking feet. And I did have people that were at my side helping me out in different ways, which I do appreciate them for that. But the past situations before, they tried helping me out, kept on rearing their ugly head into that the situation. And I'll try to keep my hopes up, try pushing forward. And there's people that will probably fucking disagree with me because they see things and view things differently than I see them and view them. They think about things differently than I think about things. Anyways, before I go off on a tangent on that, I was doing what I thought I needed to do. I was promoting my business. I'm trying to look for jobs. Doing what one would need to do when money's short. You damn near lost everything. I mean, medical bills ain't cheap. Funeral expenses ain't cheap. And then, so following all that ate up all your fucking savings and shit, right? And following all that, you fall into this hard depression. You're working just enough, basically, to fucking keep a roof over your head and stay fed. Barely that. And then as you're doing that, figuring, well, let me just handle this, keep my roof, keep myself fed. As you're doing that, and then, I'll eventually snap out of it, get my groove back, and, go from there, rebuild that safety net, right? But while you're doing that, other things popped up, which also requires funds. So naturally, I had to take care of that shit, which got in the way of other shit getting paid. Long story short, that part of my life kind of, and I was told from one of my friends, that he felt I was, detaching myself. I guess would be a way of putting it from God. Because if you're new to the show, those of you that have been listening all along should know. But if you're new to the show, I am a pastor. Okay, I did extensive studies. I got a degree in divinity. I got ordained in 2010, 2011. I started my own ministry. So anyways, he tells me that he feels these aren't his words, but more or less, he feels that I was detaching myself from God. Like I wasn't paying attention to what he was trying to do for me. I wasn't paying attention to what he was trying to say to me. And that he felt I was stepping away from my purpose. Now, as far as that goes, I feel that my purpose is basically to help people. I've helped people since I was a kid. Like I was always the one that people came to cry on the shoulder. I was the one that everybody came to fucking talk about their fucking problems. As I got older, became an adult, I'd have complete strangers coming up to me, telling me their whole life story, and then apologizing for me for doing so, saying that they just felt comfortable for some reason talking to me. Up to and including one incident where I'm sitting at a gas station at the end of my workday. I'm at the gas station doing my accounting for the day, and while I'm sitting there doing that, I have somebody parked next to me. She literally gets into my van in the front passenger seat, tells me her life story and what was going on with her, and then after that, apologizes to me for just walking into my van without, saying hi, introducing herself first, or asking if she can talk to me first. After she tells me her story, she apologizes to me for just getting in the van and starting to talk, and tells me that she feels that I was there, that God put me there specifically for her because she needs somebody she can talk to. I did help her out. She wanted me to go check on something for her, so we went and checked on it, and then went back to the gas station so I can finish doing what I was doing. So she can pick up her car and go wherever the hell she was going after that. I'm assuming back home. So stupid little shit like that, it makes me feel good, And when I first started my ministry and I was working it pretty much on a full-time basis, and by full-time, I mean I was literally pushing 60, 80 hours a week in my ministry. Hearing stories from other people from all over the world, how my work was helping them, was inspiring them, that made me feel good. So I do believe that my purpose here is to help people. And I mean, I try to do that in different ways, but I will agree with my friend that no, I haven't been doing it in the way that really makes me feel good inside. I haven't been doing it in the way that I feel maybe God wanted me to be doing it. And this past almost 2 weeks, it hasn't quite been 2 weeks yet, but these past 2 weeks, what I've been going through, I feel like God's finally answering me. If that makes any sense, because, alright, for those of you that are new to the show, I probably just lost you there. For those of you listening all along and remember what I was saying back at the end of the explanation of the second hiatus, you should understand what I mean by that. But for those of you new to the show, I try praying and talking to God pretty much on a daily basis since my wife passed away of cancer, which is just over 3 years ago now. And before that, I feel me and God had a very close relationship because I pray and I'd get an answer, not right away, but within a reasonable amount of time, whether it was some random conversation with a stranger, or it was a message on a billboard, or something come over the radio, somehow, some way, shape, or form, I always managed to get an answer to my prayer. Like I ask a question, I get my answer somehow, some way. But I felt for almost 3 years after losing my wife to cancer that God wasn't answering me. Now I feel he is again, but again, it's not the right choice of words because he probably was answering me all along, answering my questions all along. I just wasn't paying attention because looking at where my mind is right now, and looking where my mind was the past 3 years, no, I wasn't in the right state of mind. I was upset. I was angry. I was letting shit get to me instead of just dealing with it and moving on. So, but now that, I still have the same issue that I spoke about back leading up to and through the first hiatus. That issue I am still dealing with. It has gotten a little bit worse. What I said that I was going to try to do It didn't work. It backfired in my face. So yeah, that situation got a little bit worse on me. But and yeah, I am a little stressed out. I mean, the timing on certain parts of that situation is running out. So yes, I am a little stressed out. My mind's just in a different spot now. I think I'm getting back to, more or less who I was. I really don't have a choice. I mean, things technically can still get worse than they are right now, but not much. I mean, I'm basically at the bottom at the moment. So yeah. So basically, as I mentioned in one of the promotions that the show is coming back, I don't know if it was the last episode before this one, or if it was the first promo episode. But one of the promo episodes, I mentioned that there was going to be a mini series, and that one of them was going to be tagged VL in one of those episodes, meaning van life. Well, the reason why I'm going to have a van life series is basically because right now I am more or less nomading it. I joined a couple of work camp groups, and basically what that is um, work camping is more or less where you have a converted van or a schoolie or an RV, and people, usually farmers, allow you to camp on their land in exchange for labor. Some of them will let you camp and give you a small salary as well. Some of them, it's just the camping, just use of their land in exchange for labor. And then when the job's done, you leave and you go on to the next one. I joined a few groups um, for those type of jobs. I've already started talking to a few people that do that kind of stuff all the time, and I think it'd be pretty freaking cool to travel the country doing what I do and adding some work camping in the mix. And I'll get to see new areas. I'll be able to keep my bills paid. I'll be able to meet a lot of new and interesting people. I'll be making some interesting memories. I may or may not meet somebody along the way. A nomadic lifestyle, that's debatable. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, because I have spoken to a few people that live a nomad lifestyle that have met their significant other that way. And it started out where, they start talking whatever like normal, right? And then when they moved on, instead of going in separate ways, they made plans together to go for the next location together and followed each other in separate vehicles. And then down the road, things got serious. They got rid of their smaller vehicles and got a larger one. One couple I spoke to, they both had camper vans, traded up for a schoolie. Another couple had, small converted vehicles, and they traded up for an RV. So it's not that it can't happen. It's just, if it happens, it happens for me. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Bottom line is, that's what I'm considering on doing in the near future. I'm not doing that at the moment. I got work I got to do to my van first before I can trust it, hitting the road doing that kind of mileage. And I'll just see where, the road takes me, where life takes me, if I decide to do that. There is property here in Florida that I want to buy and put a home on, and I might still do that. I might do that while I'm nomading. So when I get done, I have some place I can come back to. Because the land I want to buy, it needs to be cleared. It needs to get a home put on it. It needs to have the well and all that crap dug, the plumbing put in. I don't have to be here for that. I can hire contractors to do all that work for me, and either have them or hire somebody else to take pictures of my property each step of the way, so I can make sure that what I'm paying to get done is getting done while I'm out on the road, wherever in the country, work camping. And then, when the place is done, come back, furnish it, maybe take a break from travel for a little while, and then hit the road again. So yeah, I'm gonna have a whole series, a sub-series to this show about that. Again, it's gonna be tagged VL either in the front end or the back end of the title, so you know what episodes belong to that series and what episodes are regular show, depending on how frequently I post to that series compared to how frequently I post to the regular show. It might become its own podcast, but at the moment, it's all gonna be one podcast, so a sub series of this show. So while I'm taking you along the journey of my life and different situations I'm going through, I'll take you along my journey, my travels, different things I'm doing for work along the way, different people I'm meeting. Why not, right? Anything I gotta do to keep my mind somewhat normal. I'm not gonna go through all the details of exactly how I ended up where now I'm looking at nomading it, at least for a little while. But here again, if you're a long listener of the show, you should be able to put two and two together from the first and second hiatus. If you're new to the show, go back, listen to the older episodes. Listening to the older episodes, you'll be able to put two and two together of how I ended up where I'm at the moment, and you'll probably have a better understanding of when I said earlier that the plan I had that I was trying to do blew up my face, because I did say, I don't remember if it was the first hiatus or second hiatus, I did say what I was planning on doing to try to fix everything for me financially. Because I did it once, I did it, might have been when I was still in New York, or when I had just come down to Florida, I did it, and it worked. But this go around, it didn't work at all. This go around, it blew up my face. I don't know if it's because I tried to do it too soon before getting my rhythm back. Like I wasn't in my normal state of mind yet, and if that's why it blew up my face, or if I just didn't do it, the exact way I did it the first time. If I missed a step somewhere, but it blew up my face. We'll go back to those episodes. That'll make sense to you what I'm talking about. Needless to say, this show is going to get pretty busy with new episodes, because there's gonna be regular show episodes. I'm gonna try to get my regular show episodes back to a weekly basis, because right now, I mean, I'll have the time to do it, other than working on my business and trying to find a second job alongside my business. I got nothing but time right now. So the regular show will be back, hopefully back to a weekly basis. Right now, it's just gonna be when I publish the episode, but I'm gonna try to get it back to where it's like a set day each week. When I figure out what day of the week it's gonna be every week, I'll let you guys know. But until then, just know that I'm trying to get back to a weekly episode of the regular show. The sub series, that's debatable. I don't yet have a title for the other two sub series yet that I want to do. Hopefully, by the time I want to record an episode for the other two, I'll have a title planned out so I can tag them properly. But the van life sub series, between that sub series, which I'm gonna have an episode of that series coming up soon, and then the other two sub series plus my regular show, there's gonna be new episodes publishing to this podcast, to this show, quite frequently. However, not all of them are going to be free episodes. Some of the subjects I talk about, because of the matter of the subject, are going to be paid only. So if you want to make sure you don't miss any of my stories, or you want to make sure you get the whole story, because some might start out where the first one's free and then the second part is paid, or the first part might be paid and the second part's free. So when the free one pops up, when the free part 2 pops up, now you're hearing it in the middle of the freaking story, completely lost, because the first part was paid. If you want to make sure you don't miss anything, please subscribe. You can subscribe directly through Spotify, or you can subscribe through Memberful and get access to the paid content on any podcast listening platform through Memberful membership. Both those links will be in the description of the show, as well as on the show posting on the show's website at show.redconrad.com. Aside from subscribing to the paid content, you can also support the show by donating through Cash App or PayPal, Venmo. Those links will also be in the description and up on the website at show.redconrad.com. And like I said, hopefully this was the third and final hiatus from the show, at least for a little while. I'm trying to get back to weekly episodes for the regular show, on top of the sub-series, particularly the van life series, may end up in the near future becoming its own podcast. But for the time being, it's going to be a sub-series on this podcast. If it becomes its own thing, I'll let you guys know. I'll let you guys know what the title of the other podcast is if I end up separating it away from my show. But between the 3 sub-series plus my regular show, expect new episodes coming up frequently. And like I said, if you want to make sure you don't miss anything at all, full or in part, please subscribe to the show. It's only $4.99 a month for right now. If you subscribe now, that price will be locked in. But when the price goes up, with my costs going up, if you're not subscribed now, you're going to be stuck subscribing with the higher price. If you want to lock in the $4.99 a month for all the content I'm going to be pushing, subscribe now. Links in the description, as well as up on the website, show.redconrad.com. Thank you for listening. I will see you in the next next episode. God bless. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Red Conrad Show. Don't forget to subscribe, and remember, if you're not listening on Spotify is the home of my subscription-only content. So any stories you want to hear that have part 1 or other missing pieces on the free side, you gotta hop over to Spotify and subscribe to the subscription content to get the missing pieces of those particular stories. I will see you in the next episode.